Alright, so in this tutorial, we're gonna build out the MicroWorld Cube. Okay, so make sure we're in the front. Alright, just to quickly review for just in case of new students that are not familiar with Maya. If you press down the Alt, also known as the Option key in Macs, you hold it down, middle mouse. You can go left to right, up and down. This is what they call panning. And for the next one, hold on Alt or Option and left click and hold and drag around. You can rotate. Let go. And then let's say Alt or middle Alt slash Option and the right mouse button. You can zoom in and out. And then while you're still holding Alt, left click to rotate. And again, while you're holding Alt, middle mouse to pan, all at the same time. So you can pretty much navigate completely freely in Maya. Alright, next, to make the cube, we're gonna hold down Shift, right click. Again, that's hold down Shift and holding down right click. That will open up this floating menu where it gives you options to create polygon primitives. We're gonna make a polygon plane and let go. Here it is. Hit W for the move tool so I can kind of see it better. Now here's the channel box. If you don't see it, it's Control A, which will make it attribute editor. Control A again, channel box. And I need to make it much larger. So under the scale, I'm gonna type in 30. Under the polyplane inputs, which has additional, dang it. Sometimes that happens. Additional settings under inputs, polyplane 1. I'm gonna go under the subdivisions. We're gonna add more lines to it, like 60. I need all these lines so that I could make the uneven surface of the MicroWorld Cube. So I put 60 over here. So that's 30 in here, 60 in here. This is a polygon plane. Next, I'm gonna select it. And we're gonna kind of be double checking in the outliner. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make a texture deformer. So under deform, which is over here, I'm gonna go all the way down to texture and click that, but make sure you have your polygon plane selected as well. Now you'll notice in the outliner it made something. Texture deformer handle 1, which is this thing right here. And what I'm going to do is, since it made it, it's right here. But if you click outside by accident, it lets go of it. In case you do that, go back in here, select the handle. Now over here, go to the attribute editor, click that. And because we need to manipulate its attributes. I'm going to click on the texture deformer 1, that's the tab, the working tab. And we're going to go under texture. This checker box is the input. We're going to input something into the texture inputs. Click that. It's going to pop up this thing called a texture render node. And this is Maya's library of texture types. 2D textures, 3D textures, all different types of textures. We're going to use a 3D texture. 3D textures, they're not just a texture of images, but it's designed and made so that whenever this thing is applied to, say for example, a 3D object surface, it will be able to manipulate the object's surface. So for example, crater, we're going to use a crater. Look what it just did. It made the surface uneven. So that was the 3D texture. Do not use the 2D texture. This is right next to it. So just in case, do not use the 2D texture. It will not work on a 3D object. Only a place 3D texture or a 3D texture will work. So it made this, and it manipulated the surface, and the only reason why I was able to manipulate the surface is because I have a lot of surface geometry for it to push and pull. Now, in order for me to get that thing back, I need to go back in here, select Texture Deformer Handle 1, which is again another example of why the outliner is so important. And over here, I'm going to go under the texture, click that to go back in here. So here's the generated image, and for example, I'm going to start messing around with the frequency, something like that. Something like that works. You could do that too. And the balance, it kind of levels it out a little bit more, like that. So maybe something like that. That could work. But whatever you do, don't do something like this. Just don't do that. See how it changes there too. So Control Z, undo it. So just enough to make it uneven. Should be good. Alright, next. I'm going to click out of it. I'm going to reselect it. I need to convert this into a component mode, into the edge component mode. So while it's selected, right click, hold it, hover over to edge, and it'll turn into edge mode. Let me make it smaller, so it's just that. Then I'm gonna double click on an edge, and it'll select the entire thing. Then I'm going to extrude the edge down. So shift, right click and hold, extrude edge. Hover over it, let go. Now here's the poly extrude floating panel. And whatever you do, do not pull from here. If you do that, look what happens. The reason why it's doing that is because right now it is pulling down from, how you say, its local axis or local orientation, or its local, what do you call that, translate. Basically, from the corner, you know, I think it's averaging where all the lines, how it looped around, is averaging from the corner and going down. But when it does that, it kind of skews things out. So we're gonna press Control Z to undo that. Now we're gonna press this instead. You click that, it's gonna extrude centrally from the world center point 0, 0 right here, and pull it. It's going to be a perfect straight lines going down. And yeah, something about this thick, so we have enough space. Make sure to pull on the arrow though, not the cubes. The cubes will scale it. So about yay high. That'll give us surface area to start texture painting. Something like that. Now, since the edge loop is still selected, I'm going to scale it so that it's flattened. The way you do that is, while it's still selected, hover over the cube, the neon one. That also means it's the scale tool. If you notice, it will make the lines straight and flat. And there you go. That's how you do that. I'm gonna just left click outside, and I'm still in component mode, and then right click, and then go select object mode, let go. And that's how we do that. Next, I want to set up our UVs. So basically, the image needs to be prepped so it can paint on top of it. So right now, let me see here. Right now, the UV editor, which I'll show you, which is UV editor. This is all we have. It doesn't have any information about the side walls at all. Only the top surface, because it was just a polygon plane. And if I were to click on this checkerboard, it gives you a temporary visual look as to how it would look like. And right now, this is what it looks like. The top looks fine, because that's what it was, just an image, flat plane. But the sides are just messed up. And that's the purpose of UV mapping, to create side walls, or to map out, skin the side walls out to give it information. So the way we're going to do that is, let me go into the front view. I'm going to go right click, face, hold on right click and select face. It'll turn to face mode. Let me get this out of the way for now. And I want to select these faces. The way I'm going to do that is, let's say I'm going to just select one face, hit 5. Wait. God, I hate that coloring. I'm going to bring this UV editor back, which is UV editor. And I'm going to turn this off, checkerboard, because it's annoying me. Alright, so I selected that face. I'm going to hit spacebar. And I'm going to press maybe top view. I'm going to press 4. Right here. So from the top view, the way I'm going to select all of these, because I need to select these faces. From the top view, for example, if I press F, it'll zoom in to that area of selection. So I know it's here. So I'm going to left click, marquee, select, drag, and select that. But if it's spacebar, you'll notice I selected this top area too. I don't want that. So back into the front, or the top, I'm gonna, while it's still selected, hold down Control and left click, drag, and to deselect that. Alright. And then next. And in case, I'm pretty sure it's Control as well on the Mac, but for whatever reason, if it's not, it might be Command. Not exactly sure. Even in the Mac documentation for Maya, it hasn't been updated in years, so it's hard to find that information. It's kind of finicky. Anyhow, I think it's the command, the Control for Macs. Alright, so I selected that, and then next I need to lay out a UV map for this area. So I selected the faces, making sure I know where I am, and then go to UV, and we're going to choose Planner down here in the option box. Planner mapping option. Now, right now, go to Edit, Reset. These are the default settings. We need to fix that. Now I need to project over here, but that's based on this arrow, which is Z. So the projection needs to go this way. You'll see what I mean. So I know it's Z. I need to chase after the Z. So over here, project from Z. Next, keep image width height ratio. Click that on. That way it'll keep this shape, this rectangular shape. Next, you hit project, and this thing will pop up. And then I'm gonna bring my UV editor over. Again, that is over here, UV editor. But the strange thing is that for whatever reason, it's not updating. It's still showing this. I've tested it out several times, and even does this. I've never seen this before. This is bizarre. Yeah. So the way I corrected it was, it's frustrating, but let's say if I go shift right click or control right click to UV shell. Okay. So again, that was control right click. Command control right click to UV shell. I'm gonna move it over. Go to faces, right click, hold face, select it, and then so it's over here. I have to map it again. It works on the third try. I don't know why. It's just it is what it is right now. If yours works, that's fine, but for now it's not working. So I'm gonna go to UV and another planar map, option box, Z-axis, which is here, insert with height ratio, and apply, and now it works. It's bizarre. Maybe I need to delete history. I don't know. But the next one after that should work just fine. So we did that. Now I gotta do this wall. So I'm gonna go right click, face. I'm gonna just select a whole bunch of face down here. And then I'm gonna X that out. Hit spacebar from the top view, so I can see it's over here. Let me do Alt B as in boy, so that I can have a black background. For Macs, I believe it's Option NB as in boy. So I know it's this wall. So again, I'm gonna marquee left click, drag marquee select. I don't want the top part like I mentioned before, so I'm gonna hold down Control, left click and drag, deselect that, and now I have that. Alright, now I need to do another planar mapping. UV, planar, option box. Now I'm gonna hit W, so I know which direction is this direction, facing this way. This is the red one, which is X axis, X. So I'm gonna pick that. Keep image width height ratio, apply, and there it is. Now I'm gonna go back into my UV editor, and there it is. It's working now. I'm gonna grab it, move it out of the way here for now, so you can just kind of see. I'm gonna X that out. So we did, go to face. Now I gotta do the other side, this side. Select those faces. Then you pull up my UV editor again. just so I know I'm not selecting the same thing again. See, I selected here, nothing here. Good. Let me move this out of the way. Now from here, spacebar. We're gonna spacebar into the top view again. Oops. And then I'm gonna left click, marquee select, and then right click, marquee left drag, left click drag. So that was holding the control, and then left click drag, deselect. Spacebar, spacebar, hit W, there it is. Now I need to place a planner map again, UV. Let me X that out. Planner, option box. Now, which way is it facing? Z, which is here. Keep image ratio with height on, hit apply. There you go. And then the UV editor, here it is. Let me just drag it over here. And then let me just move out of the way. Let me select, turn it around again. Let me just select this bottom part, just so that I know I didn't select the other guys. Right here. Move that out of the way. Hit spacebar, spacebar into the top view, and it's this area. So I'm gonna left click, drag right around there, let go. It's selected the top as well. I don't want that. Hold down control, left click, drag, and deselect. Hit spacebar, spacebar, and there you have it. Hit W, so I know which way to project. Z, X. Red is X axis. Click that. Keep that. That. Hit apply, and boom. And there you go. Let me just drag it over here for now. Then, so you got our walls, which I'm gonna, let me just show you. So here's that wall. Here's this wall. Here's that wall. And here's that wall. So that's UV mapping. And the way, and if I were to throw on, let me make this bigger. Throw on the temporary checkerboard. This is generated by Maya. Move this out of the way, and there you have it. Right now it's colored because I have the faces selected. So as you can see from before, it looks different. Like it looks something that you could recognize. Whereas before, it just had like a cheese grater lines. And you still have the top. Perfect. So that's UV mapping. So what we did was basically give information, UV information, which is a 2D representation of the 3D surface. Anyhow, so that's what it is. We're gonna align this after as well. There's a couple another trick as well that needs to be done, which is pretty important. But for now, we just move that out of the way. Make sure you don't overlap them. Other thing too is, let's just clean this up a little bit more. Click on that right there. So anything in blue means it's okay. Anything in like red and stuff means that it's backwards. So I'm gonna select it. Like say face, go to, let's say right click, face. Just select the faces. It's better to be in faces mode. Or UVs, right click, UV. Select the UVs. They look like vertices, but they're not. They're UVs. They're placed right on top of the vertices as well. Anyway, so you get that. Then we're gonna go to transform under the UV toolkit. Basically, we're gonna flip it right here under tools, flip. Now, ooh, wait. No, now it's upside down. That's flipping under the B. U and V means, V means, you know, up and down. U means left to right. So we need to flip it under the U. Hey, come on. Why isn't it? Oh, flip. Now, okay, now I flip. And straight lines and jaggedy on the top. So that's correct. Next, this one. Select it. You can select it as UVs or select it as faces. So again, right click face, select the faces, and we're gonna flip it on the U, which is left to right. Apply. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work on faces. Never mind. Select the UVs, right click UVs, and flip. There you go. So now it's all blue, which means it's correct. All right, let's close that out. Let me save this. Control Shift S. Creating MicroWorld Cube and UVs. All right, so we did that. Okay, so the reason why you want to work this method is where you make the base changes over here, and then we added the UVs, which UV editor right here. And then we add the details, which is the beveling, to give it that really nice look. And I'll explain why. So I'm gonna make the bevels here because right now it looks flat, like some cheap 3D art from in the 90s. So I'm gonna select it, and just a refresher, this is the information from the history. You got we did the UVs, we did extrude edge, we did the texture deformer. This was polyplane, that was original, and that was a crater. Just to refresh that, talk about that. I'm gonna close this out. Now I want to add bevels. I'm in object mode, right click, select edge, let go, double click, and I also want to click this corner, only the corner, not the sides, this corner where it meets, left click. And in case if I didn't explain well, double click, hold down shift, double click, hold down shift, left click, turn, hold on shift, double click meaning the left mouse button, hold on shift, left click, turn, zoom, shift, double left click, hold on shift, left click single time. Over here, last corner, hold on shift, left click, and hit 4, so kind of see what's happening. I only selected the outer edge lines, that's it. Do not select anything else. If you do, it's going to screw things up. Next, if you don't like the black background, you can go down Alt and B to get gray, Alt and B again to get whiter, Alt and B for bluish background. Max is I believe what option. Anyway, so there you go. Hold down shift and right click. This will bring up the holding down when you're in component mode and you hold down shift and right click, it brings up specific tools for that component type. So if you have, say, selected faces as the component mode, it'll give you tools just for the faces. I selected the edges. So it gave me the floating tools just for edges modeling. So anyhow, so I'm still holding down my shift and my right click, and I'm gonna go bevel, edge, and let go. My poly bevel floating window pops up, and this is what we have. It's not enough. It's set to fraction. Let's set to 0.5 for fraction, only fraction. And now we have our nice bevel, but it's too faceted. So I need more segments to make it round. Under the segments, I'm gonna type in 4, and that's how we got that. Everything else, leave it alone. And right click, object mode, let go, click outside. Now that's how we got it. So if I'm not mistaken, if I select this, and here's our top level bevel 1, I'm going to go to UV editor. Oh no, it didn't. It messed it up. It's not supposed to do that. Why did it? What the hell? Maybe if I set the segments to 2? I was trying to avoid this. Man. Fine. Right click, face. Let me see if I can salvage this. I selected all of this here. God. Let me move. Zoom out, hit 4. Alright, good. Okay, we can salvage this. Alright. Let me turn off the checkerboard. So in case let me go back here. I selected it. I pulled up the UV editor and see, look what it did. There's other times where it doesn't do this, where the workflow is you do your basic model, then you lay out your UVs, then you do the additional up resolution. Because if you do the up resolution, meaning the bevels first, and then try to do the UVs, you have to try to account for highlighting all these extra, bevels, which is a real nuisance because there's a lot of these faces, which is why I did the UVs first, then the bevel, and this shouldn't be happening, but it did. But it's not that bad because now if I select it, right click, face, select that, never mind the stretching. When I look here, I still have the exact faces that I need. See? Instead of having to go in and select all this stuff. Anyway, so let me just redo the map. So we're gonna go here, UV, planner mapping, option window. Alright, x-axis, x, check, project, and there we have it. And when I bring it over, it redid it. Now I'm gonna move it up here. Alright, we're good. Move this back. Oh wait, let me bring that back in. Let me select these faces. Alright, just select here. I'm not gonna select this just yet. So just these guys right here. And that's gonna be this. Ooh, but I don't want this though. I don't, is that it? No, that's not selecting. That's in red. Red meaning is flipped. These are the ones that are selected, which is, this is my corners where I want different selection points. So we're still good. Good. Now I need to do the planner mapping. Go to UV, planner mapping, option box, hit W, Z, axis, Z axis, hit apply. I lost my thing. What's right here? Right here. So let me try hit Control Z. Control Z. Here, I got it back. Good. So I got it back. Now there it is over here. I'm gonna move it up. It's in red. So let's just flip it. Transform. Tools. Transform. Tools. Flip under the U. Alright, so when we did the UVs before, that wasn't in vain because at least we can select it really quickly now rather than, like I mentioned before, selecting those itty bitty parts, which would have been a nightmare. So I'm gonna select this, right click, face, select that, just this area. We'll work around, zoom in. Alright, so that area is this here. Good. Good, good. Perfect, good. Alright. And then we're going to UV, planner mapping, option box. We need to always need an option box. Hit W. I need to planner map it into the Z. Project. And there it is. Perfect. I'm gonna just move it up. Lastly, this one. Just select all of it. Hit F to frame it. There it is. Alright, perfect. Glad that we didn't have to select all this stuff. That would have been horrible. And there's other selection ways too, but it's still a drag. UV, planner mapping, option box. Hit W under the X axis. X. Project. Perfect. But it's in red because it's opposite. So let me just move this up here. And let's go under transform tools, flip. That was right way up. Right way flipped. Alright, so if I were to go press the checker box right here. Right click, object mode. Oh wait, right click. So here's our UVs. This is fine. Yeah. Now you can texture paint. Alright, that was good. Okay, some of the stuff we did was redundant, but it was necessary. There was no way around it. At least we avoided more pain. Anyway, so we did all of that. Now let's delete the history because we've got all this stuff going on, and the more and more stuff you start stacking, it can wreck things. So let's go to I have my shelf here, but in case there's new students, edit, delete by type, history, and clears out everything. Everything's gone now. You know, let's name this too. Double click here, name it micro underscore world underscore cube, because Maya doesn't like spaces. And let's also do something else. Let's go under display, where I taught about this before, the display layers. And we have this, make sure it's selected. Okay, go under this icon. It's gonna dump it into a new layer. Good. Now double click here, rename it to underscore micro underscore world cube underscore. I'm putting an underscore here because if you try to name it the same thing, it gets rejected. So I just put an underscore so just to change it up and hit save. All right. You're gonna want this because this is gonna be your first large project with multiple assets and to organize everything. And this thing, which is a 3D place 3D texture node, we don't need it anymore because I deleted the history. Now it's gone. All right, so that was 40 minutes. Okay, so we're pretty much done. And you got your MicroWorld Cube as UV mapped. We'll be tidying up the UV map later and doing some other UV things that'll help out with the texture mapping, but this is it for now.